Chapter 1. Pete's place was buzzing, a good number of Merredin's residents in a partying mood. A bloody civil war had been avoided for the most part, and the political situation stabilized, at least for the moment. An absolute blessing in a post-apocalyptic world. Given what he and his family had been through, Bishop decided to work close to home for a few weeks. Besides, the guys who normally handled the pub security here were long overdue for a little time off. He could be close to Terry and his son while earning an honest wage. The Texan personally knew many of the customers enjoying the evening. He'd already turned down a dozen offers for free libations. He sipped a cup of coffee instead, sitting at the bar by the entrance, keeping a watchful eye on the comings and goings of the patrons. Like any other security assignment, Bishop's duty this night involved diligence, which translated into identifying threats. A people watcher by nature, Bishop rather enjoyed this part of the job and was quite proficient at it. At a nearby table, 3 Beltran ranch hands toasted the alliance, threw back their brews with gusto, and arm wrestled for the top bed in the bunkhouse. To Bishop, they looked like tough, capable men, but he knew their muscles bulged more from stringing barbed wire than throwing punches. Plus, Mr. Beltran paid a full day's wages for a full day's work that started an hour before sunup. The rugged old ramrod didn't tolerate any excuses, especially those based on excessive consumption of cold beer or any extracurricular activities that might follow. The 2 businessmen seated at the bar fell comfortably into the same benign category. Having long buried their corporate dealings in the confines of their briefcases, they loosened their ties and relaxed a bit. Business proposals off the table, they were focused more on female companionship and the bite of Pete's bathtub gin than causing a disturbance. The far end of the bar was anchored by Merredin's very own self-appointed political analyst, Joe Kinslow. As usual, he was spouting his party line to anyone who would listen. While the crusty old codger's viewpoint might irritate some, his rhetoric wouldn't go over the top for at least another 3 beers. Harry, the bartender, knew to cut him off after 2. In fact, the crowd filling the tavern was exactly what Bishop would have anticipated. A comfortable mixture of regulars, rounded out by a smattering of visitors to the fair city. Still, he maintained his diligence, scanning the room as well as all new arrivals with the wary eye, closely attending to the details of Pete's clientele. "I'm gonna get you a gift certificate for one of those fancy massages, Bishop. You're looking way too serious," Harry announced from behind the bar. "Then again, I don't suppose I blame you for being a little uptight, given the war and all those robberies that went down." "I'm paid to be uptight," Bishop retorted with a smirk. "Just don't drift too far away from the 12-gauge under the bar, okay?" "You got it, boss." Lifting his cup for another sip of Java, the sound of elevated speech piqued the Texan's attention. A suddenly sharp male voice barked over the murmur of the crowd, a sure sign of trouble. In a heartbeat, Bishop slid off his perch and moved toward the source. A few steps later, he found himself approaching the recipe for a brawl. The ingredients included 2 strapping lads, 1 leggy lady, and a bunch of empties crowding the tabletop. "I don't like you looking at him like that," one of the cowboys growled at the woman. "She can look at anybody she wants," responded the interloper, standing abruptly and balling his fists. In a flash, Bishop maneuvered between them. "Gentlemen, chill. Let's talk this over." While the Texan didn't know the 2 cowpokes, they knew him, at least by reputation. His presence seemed to turn down the heat to a simmer, but Bishop wanted to take the pot off the flame altogether. "Look, fellas, everybody is in here just to have a good time. Few drinks, some good conversation," Bishop soothed, hoping a calming voice would subvert the tension. "If you 2 start trouble, you'll ruin what's turning out to be a nice, quiet evening, and that would most certainly piss me off." Bishop wanted them to sit down or leave, or at least show some sign that they were reconsidering violence. After all, this was post-apocalyptic West Texas, where starvation, disease, and anarchy had long ago culled the meek from the human herd. These folks had all witnessed the practical application of Darwin's theory, and they knew that having a proper firearm decreased the likelihood of their falling prey to natural selection. These survivors stood a little taller, walked a little surer, and every one of them wore a gun. Seconds later, the 2 testosterone-charged fellows casted hard glares at each other again, their bodies bowed up for a fight. Bishop had seen the signs hundreds of times before, and the prospects incensed him.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.